Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You've seen the title. Let's get straight to it, man. This video is gonna be on how I got addicted to cigarettes and how I quit. So, my first real remembrance of even what a cigarette was, I just remember back in the '90s, man. When I was a kid, you know, smoking was very, very prevalent. Everybody smoked, for real. It was just one of those things that was popularized. It was, glamorized in movies. It was glamorized in music videos. All that type of stuff. They pushed it really, really heavy back in those times. I think a lot of us are getting hip now, the newer generation, and even my generation. You guys, we're realizing that a lot of people are realizing that cigarettes are not what they're all cracked up to be. So I'm gonna take you guys back. Like I said, when I was a kid, everybody smoked. I had a lot of people in my family that were chain smokers. Man, it was, when you're a kid, you don't really realize you're around it. Everybody's just doing it, so it's just normal. But in hindsight, looking back, man, like everybody was just like crazy addicted to cigarettes. I mean, my grandma being one of them, she chain smoked cigarettes. It was one after another. Before she even put one out, she would smoke one. It would be halfway. She would still just put it out, and then fire up another one. Smoke one, put it out. So, and she was really bad about emptying her ashtrays or keeping them out of the hands of the children that were around, being my uncle that was 1 year older than me. And so if you do the math on that, but yeah, my grandma had her son a year before my mom had me. And so we were raised like brothers, even though, like I said, he was my uncle. But, this is one of the very first times I got introduced to a cigarette, because being curious kids, just like any kid, if you leave something around a kid, they're going to go touch it, they're going to inspect it, they're seeing other people do things, and they're curious. And so you got to be very vigilant as a parent or an adult to, keep these things away from your children, unless you want them to pick up the habit as well. And then if that's the case, then, you know what you are, a real POS, because, when you're an adult and you want to make these decisions, that's totally your choice, your prerogative. It's the United States. You have the freedom to do so. But anybody that's, encouraging underage children to pick up these bad habits, I mean, I don't have any sympathy for you. But like I said, all the adults that I was around, they all smoked. So I just remember one night, like me and my uncle, you know how it is when you're a kid, your parents go to bed early, they're tired, they probably worked all day or whatever. Well, we would wait until, obviously that's whenever as a kid, you start being more curious. You start going into adult things, you're looking around, whatever. And I just remember one day, all of a sudden, me and my uncle just got this like bright idea, like, oh, let's light one of these and see what it's like. And I don't know whose idea it was. I'm pretty sure it was his. I couldn't tell you, but all I know is I just remember that very first hit of a menthol cigarette. Like I said, we might have been 9, 10 years old. No older than that. I know that. We were very young. And, seeing my grandma's ashtray, she would just have probably 50 cigarettes in one little small ashtray, just all in there. And she, like, for whatever reason, she didn't throw them away. She didn't really save them, because she always just fired up another one. It was just like chain smoking. It was a bad habit. She probably picked it up from somebody she thought was cool, or seen a movie star doing it or whatever. But, she was definitely fully on board with smoking cigarettes. So, yeah, me and my uncle decided, we're going to get one of these out. So we grabbed a little one like this, got the stove, turned the stove on, and went up to it, puffed it, passed it, and I don't really remember the exact, I don't remember really coughing really bad or anything. I kind of just remember that cold sensation from the menthol. And we didn't even know what we were doing it for. We didn't know we were doing it for what other people smoke cigarettes for, to take the edge off, or whatever people say. It's just that good feeling they're, chasing. We just thought we were being cool. Like, oh, we're being an adult. We're like the adults. Like, we would smoke them, and, and then we'd hurry up, put it out, And then we hurried up and went and did whatever, went back to being kids and just playing little kid stuff. Well, then a couple of days later, I went back to my uncle's house. We're messing around. The adults went to sleep. Hey, let's get another one of these cigarettes. Like I said, we were kids. We didn't even know what they were called. We didn't even know they were called cigarettes. We just knew something in the ashtray that everybody else did, so we did. That's what I'm saying. Like, kids don't even really realize what they're doing. They're just seeing what other people are doing. Whether you think they're watching you or not, they are. When they won't even tell you. We never went and told my grandma, like, oh, what are you doing? Is that a cigarette? We never asked her a question about a cigarette. We never asked any adult. We just knew that's what they were doing. So it could have been laced with something for all we knew. Like, luckily, there wasn't nothing like that. But as a kid, we didn't know. And so, like I said, we just, a couple days later, went back over there. Thought we were being cool, being sneaky. Light up another one. Light up a couple, the next thing you know, we're doing it all like on a regular. We never got caught. I don't think my grandma ever really knew we were smoking them cigarettes. And then I think that probably went on for, I'd say just a few months. And then I think we just got bored of it. We were like, this is kind of dumb. Like, with anything, as long as like you're not getting pressured into doing something, like nobody thought we were cool doing it. It was just me and him being sneaky. And so we didn't really have the peer pressure behind it, like with our other like buddies or anything like that, like normal people do when they're smoking. And so I'm pretty sure, like, maybe here and there throughout our teenage years, we may have like gotten another one out of the ashtray here and there, but for the most part, we didn't really smoke that much after that. And then I want to say when I was in high school. I want to say a freshman in high school. Me and one of my best friends, again, seeing other people do the stuff. Well, believe it or not, the high school I went to, there was like a little mini mart across the street. And I'll never forget because it's the very first place we ever bought cigarettes as minors. Now, like I said, back in the day, it really wasn't pressed like that, especially where I went to high school. I grew up in the hood. And so, for whatever reason, you would think there would be more like police activity in the hood, or there would be more like crackdowns on, or like stings on these little marts or whatever. But for whatever reason, nobody cares about the hood, and and they don't do any stings or anything down there. So for the longest time, I just remember everybody in high school knowing like, hey, keep it on the down low, because everybody, growing up in the hood, we don't snitch. So we go across, hey, don't say nothing, but all you got to do is tell dude, because he used to sell them. I don't know, for people that know what I'm talking about, the dude used to sell singles. So it wasn't nothing for us to get it was hard for teenagers at that time with no jobs to get money to get a full pack, but we could go get singles for a quarter each or whatever it was. It might have been cheaper than that back then, 20 cents or whatever. And so we would, scrounge up some change in our parents' car, walk up there. Thought we were super cool at 16. Hey, man, let me get a couple of singles. And he would pull them out the pack and sell them to us. Boom. All he cared about was profit. Again, not caring about kids, not caring about nobody. All they care about is profit. And that's what's wrong with this world. Everybody's just worried about making $1 off somebody and don't care about anybody's best interest. That's a whole nother story that I'll talk about a different day. But yeah, so I just remember thinking we were so cool walking in there the first time, and we got, he used to sell, it's crazy because he would sell shit purposely for kids. So like he would have like, I know y'all remember the old school candy. I don't know if these younger generation know nothing about this, but the little Fruities, they're like little Tootsie Rolls, but they're different flavors. Fire. I still love Fruities. I ate them so much that, I used to go to Sam's and stuff and get the huge like bags of them, man. I used to sell them, but that's what they would do. They would get the big bags from whatever, major retail, like whatever Sam's or Costco or whatever it was back then. They would buy it in bulk. The dude used to twist up these bags almost like how they sell drugs. Like you put it in a little sandwich baggie and twist it up, and that's how he would sell them at the counter for like $1. So we would go up there, get Fruities, and then get a couple of cigarettes like it was candy. Like, oh, let me get a couple of them. And that reminds me, actually, me and my buddy were talking about this today. If anybody wants to go research this, look up predictive programming, and they do it to people, man. It's where they add stuff into little kid, like little kid, like basically they try to manipulate people's minds at a young, early age, and then as you get older, you don't even realize it, but it's already in your subconscious. They do this stuff all the time. Different story, like I said, but that just reminds me when I used to get candy back in the days. They used to sell packs of cigarettes that were actual candy, and they look like cigarettes. The outside looked like a pack of cigarettes. You would get it. They would have there would be little white candy sticks. They were just like sugar sticks, but they look like you would pretend like you were smoking a cigarette. So again, I'm sure the tobacco companies had something to do with like pushing that real hard in the kids' in the candy stores and stuff. I just remember that. But so again, fast forward, we're back to being 16. We bought our first couple cigarettes up there, and we thought we were so cool. And then next thing you know, we scrounged up $10, and we went up there and bought a pack. And we were smoking, and then we just thought we were the coolest thing, sharing cigarettes. And I never really was I never really was a smoker like that, because like for me, I was just doing it to be social, honestly. I was just trying to, hey, my friends were doing it, they're being cool, I want to be cool, so I was doing it. So I let peer pressure get the best of me. That's why I'm making these videos, so hopefully a young person out there will see this and not fall victim to peer pressure, because looking back on it, it was dumb. Like, I actually had asthma when I was a child, and I actually pushed myself so hard to overcome it, because I had just a slight touch of asthma, but I had to use an inhaler. I had to use this thing called albuterol and stuff like that. And I just remember like exercising a lot and running a lot, and I ended up getting over it. But then as soon as I got over it, I'm sitting here hitting cigarettes at 16. So it was just dumb. Like you don't really think about what you're doing to yourself when you're that young. You're just trying to be cool and fit in. For any of you young ones out there, don't do it. Be the cool one. Tell them no, because it's not cool. I could go into a whole list of reasons why cigarettes are not cool. Obviously, they cost a lot of money. They make your teeth yellow. They make your breath stink. It's just such a dirty habit to have. And anybody who knows is around somebody. If you quit smoking, or if for any amount of time you go back around somebody who smokes cigarettes, you can just smell it on them. It's disgusting. Obviously, when you're smoking cigarettes, you don't even realize it because it's all over you. You're just, it's a part of the smell. It's like if you got dogs, you don't smell the dog on you, but somebody who don't have dogs, you're gonna smell it. But yeah, so it went from that, and then I remember me and that same buddy, we went on vacation. We went to Wisconsin Dells. I'll never forget. We went to Wisconsin Dells, and my mom was like, you can bring a friend. So my buddy came with me. We went to Wisconsin Dells. And like I said, we were about 16 at this point. And 15, 16, I want to say. So whatever, yeah. I keep saying 16, but I might have been younger than that. I might have been 14, 15. Whatever a freshman is in high school. I don't really remember. But I remember we went on vacation. And we was just like, we got there, and my mom was like, y'all could just walk around and have fun. Because like I said, back in those times, like, people used to just let their kids roam wherever. So she was at the hotel, she just let us roam. Because there's a strip in Wisconsin Dells that's just like, all the attractions are on the street. So it's kind of like, anywhere you go in any major city that has a vacation spot, there's just going to be a strip with a bunch of mini marts and all kinds of stuff. So like I said, me and him are walking, and we go. And I remember him being like, man, bro, we need some cigarettes. I was like, cigarettes, bro, we're good, like, we're chilling. Because his dad ended up giving him like a few $100s to bring just for food and like whatever. So he had some money, I had some money, I saved up. So we had money on us. So we're walking around thinking we're the crap. We met some girls. We're trying to be cool. We're walking around with these girls and stuff, and I just remember him being like, man, I need some cigarettes. I was like, well, he was way taller than me. And so I just like, well, if anybody's going to be able to get it, it's going to be you because you're taller. So, I mean, you're going to have to go in there and do it if you really want them that bad. I ain't really that pressed on it. Again, like I said, I wasn't that heavy of a smoker, never had been. I've always just let peer pressure get the best of me. And if somebody's smoking, then I wanted to smoke. But he was like, all right, well, I'm going to go try. I was like, all right, you get caught, you on your own, bro. Like, I don't know, you don't know me. You know how it is, stick to the code. Like, don't bring me down with you. And so he goes in there. I remember sitting outside, with the girls or whatever. He walks in. I seen him come out. Tell me why. I'm thinking he going to try to get a pack of cigarettes. This boy done went for the whole mile. He done bought a whole carton of cigarettes. He came out the biggest smile on his face, like he hit the lottery. And it's stupid looking back on it, but you know, when you're a kid and you get away with something, you think that's cool. So he comes back like, oh, like bought a whole carton of cigarettes. He's like, we good for the whole week. We was down there for a whole week, and sure enough, for that whole week, we're sneaking off, chain smoking these cigarettes like idiots. And so I think right around after that time, some things happened in my life. My house burned down. I made a video on that if you guys want to go check that out. I lost everything. He ended up moving because we almost got stabbed in the town we lived in. Like I said, we lived in the hood. This crazy dude tried to stab us one time, and his dad was like, I'm moving out of here, and he moved. And so he moved out. I was still stuck there, but then my house burned down. It's just a whole bunch of stuff happened. So, but after he moved, I really quit smoking cigarettes, honestly, because, you know, I was just so focused on school and trying to get out of the hood. And the only way, you know, to get out was either focus on school, go in the military, or, you know, basically that's it. Because everybody's there for it, nobody's got a helping hand for you. And so I just remember not smoking, and then, you know, again, I got around the wrong crowd. Once I graduated, like I said, my house burned down. I graduated, and then I was like, what am I gonna do? And I ended up getting an apartment, started hanging around a different crowd of people because I moved to a different city where I met some new people, and they were cool guys. We used to have parties. We had the girls. We had the drinks. We just thought we were so cool. And like I said, in hindsight, it was a horrible decision because all the damage that I've done to my body from smoking cigarettes. You know, I'm sure it'll catch up to me one day, knock on wood, but luckily, thank God that there's nothing, I have no illnesses as of today. But, you know, who's to say what'll catch up to you later on? I actually had a buddy that died from lung cancer not too long ago. And he told me he used to smoke for 20 years. But he had quit for 20 years. So basically he smoked from 20 to 40. And then from 40 to 60, he didn't ever smoke. He quit smoking. And he used to tell me like, yeah, man, I told myself one day I'm just going to quit smoking. And he was going to buy a truck. So he bought himself a truck. And that was his reward for not smoking. Because as much money he was spending on cigarettes every month was a brand new truck payment. And so I thought that was really cool. That always stuck with me. And so, again, I tried to make this video not too long, but so boom, I started hanging around the wrong crowd again, social smoking. I used to social drink, you know, everybody else was doing the thing. So this is how addiction happens. That's why my main point I'm trying to get to is addiction can happen to anybody, you know, even the strongest of minds, because it's like that social pressure of trying to fit in. And, you know, you just got to really surround yourself with the right people. You know, we're all humans. Everybody has their flaws. I'm not saying that everybody who smokes a bad person, but smoking is a very bad habit. Like I said, there's so many health issues that come with it. It costs so much money. Like, I don't even know how people afford cigarettes in 2026 economy, honestly. So, but, you know, going forward, eventually, I just got sick and tired of it. I was always that guy that used to annoy my friends because it didn't bother me if they said no. But I would always be that friend that would say, hey, let me get one. Hey, let me get one. I was always the let me get one man. And I didn't care. It didn't bother me at all. If they're like, nah, bro, I can't. Like, or, you know, short me on that. Short me on how many nasty cigarettes that I've smoked with friends that were all sharing because we were poor and we all had to share one cigarette, 2 or 3 of us, because I used to roof. When we were roofing, we would smoke cigarettes on the roof, thinking, you know, trying to take the edge off from the beating sun and the hard labor we were doing. And so, but it's so disgusting to look at it now. I would never, ever, ever put my lips on something else that somebody else is putting their lips on. It's so disgusting. But when you're poor and you're just in the moment, I mean, that's what we did. I can't lie. We would all share the same cigarette, and you know, it'd be disgusting. So, But yeah, man, it's just, that's how it creeps in. That's how it gets you. But eventually I got tired of it. I got tired of stinking. I know women don't typically like a guy who smells like cigarettes unless they smoke too. But if you look at people who smoke for a long time, if you can see, I don't know if this is just genetics or from smoking, but I'm regretting it now in my older age. And I got all these damn wrinkles. And, you know, smoking causes that shit. You know, smoking causes wrinkles. It'll put all these damn wrinkles on your head. You know, it causes, I know you guys seen the commercial with the lady with the, it does that, like literally. Like I said, my buddy, he had so much energy. He was always up and running around. He was 60 years old, but he had so much energy, full of life, the happiest person. He always loved to make people laugh. He was such a happy person. And one day, all of a sudden, he just started talking weird. He was like, damn, bro, I think I got a cold. I was like, damn. So he's eating cough drops and shit. I'm like, bro, you might want to go get that checked out. Oh, I'm all right, because he was old school, kind of like I am. We're hard-headed. We don't go to the doctor right away when we should. And, you know, he was thinking it was just a cold. He would brush it off. Well, it wasn't going away. So he went and got it checked out. And they put him on something like antibiotics or whatever. Still wasn't going away. He was like, I don't know. And then they did some blood work on him. And then they did some tests on him. And come to find out, he had small cell lung cancer, which is one of the very worst lung cancers. And it's also very rapid. And so, and then I could just go into like how the insurance company played him, because he had been paying insurance for his whole life, and the moment he needed it, they were damn near refusing to. They were making him jump through hula hoops. Like when the doctor told him, you need to get treatment, like today, tomorrow, yesterday, you should have been got treatment. And so he was like, but we got to go through insurance first, and insurance wasn't trying to pay it, which is blew my mind. So he had to jump through hoops. So it took him a month or so to get treatment. He started his treatment. He said like he was feeling all right. He ended up coming back to work for like a couple days, and then he was out again. And that was pretty much the last I seen him, honestly. We talked a few times on the phone. I tried to keep him in good spirits. Like, what's up? You're going to be all right, bro? It's going to be good. But he just knew. He knew something wasn't right. And, you know, when I did my research on it, I didn't have the heart to tell him. But I do remember this. I do remember telling him, like, it was the last time he was at work. He was like, yeah, I'm going to be out for a while, man. He was like, you take care of the spot. And I was like, I got you, bro. And Kenny was like, it's my boy Kenny, man. And he was like, I told him, I said, hey, make sure you take your wife. Because him and his wife were old school, man. They used to take each other out every Friday. His wife would cook Monday through Thursday. And then Saturday and Sunday, his wife would cook. But on Fridays, he made it, him and his wife always had, and they had a very successful marriage. So anybody that's in a relationship or get in a relationship, I suggest you guys do the same. You got to have that time for yourself. But every Friday, they would go out to dinner. And, you know, they would pick a spot, and they would just go enjoy a meal together. And little things like that is what helps keep a strong bond. Again, another subject for a different day. But it happened so fast, it just blew my mind. And again, like I said, he quit smoking cigarettes for so long that he couldn't believe that it caught up to him, man. And it could happen to anybody. And it doesn't always just have to wait until you're 60. You know, it could happen tomorrow. There's so many people in he was telling me, he was like, there's so many young people in the cancer treatment centers, and like a lot of people switched over to the vape now. And, you know, they are saying that, you know, vapes are a better alternative to cigarettes, but they're still just as bad. You're putting, you know, foreign chemicals into your body. You know, you don't know who's making these. They're coming from China. They're coming from these other, you know, countries who do not give a crap. They're paying their people pennies to make them, and we're just inhaling them like left and right, like, ooh, watermelon ice. Like, and you know, nicotine's designed to have you addicted. That's what it's literally, an addictive drug that they put in there. They want you to keep coming back. They're going to keep making that money. I guarantee the executives and the CEOs of these companies do not smoke cigarettes. They do not smoke vapes. They're just making money off of extorting you, off of your detriment. They don't care if you get cancer and don't get to grow old to see your kids. They don't care if you know, like my buddy, he had a bunch of grandkids, his daughters, like his wife was still young. They still have 20, 30 years. And he's gone like that in an instant. He died shortly after, and, you know, it happened quick. And it hurt me really bad, and it still does. And that's ultimately what made me quit. When I seen that happen, man, I just said, I can't do this. I have kids, you know, like, it's not worth it. I know it's an addiction. The first few days were, you know, kind of tough. So I was switching. I switched to cigars for a minute. I tried to smoke these Black and Mild cigars. And, you know, like I said, I was never addicted to cigarettes. Luckily for me, I didn't have that gene. I wasn't just sitting there buying packs of cigarettes. I can't even tell you how many packs of cigarettes I bought in my life. Probably a handful. But I would always bum off of everybody. And like my ex, her dad was a chain smoker, so he always had cigarettes on him. So, and I was around him a lot for a lot of years, so I would always just get one off of him. He would just give me one all the time because he had money and he just had cartons and cartons of cigarettes. So he would always just give me some. Anytime I asked, he would just give me one. And so I always, in my head, I always trick myself like, oh, well, if I don't buy them, then that'll keep me from smoking them all the time. Because I could go through my whole day without smoking, and then I get around people that are smoking. I wanted to smoke with them because I wanted to fit in. It was stupid. But maybe that, you know, maybe this video will help somebody else that's either, you know, thinking about quitting or never smoked before in their life. Hopefully you hear this message and you never do. Because if I could go back and never smoke a cigarette, I would. Because, like I said, once you get hooked, it's very hard to get off. A lot of people don't get off. So a lot of people go. And, you know, some people live until they're 90 years old and they're chain smokers. So it all depends. But I'm just saying, from my experience, it's a horrible addiction. You're going to lose so much money. You're going to smell. You're definitely going to smell. Like, if you ever smell somebody who's sick, like, if you smoke cigarettes, quit smoking for a little while and then go around somebody who smokes. It's disgusting. You smell like the ashtray. And, yeah, so your teeth, you don't want your teeth getting all yellow and stained from the nicotine, that all that tar going in your lungs. You can't breathe when you're exercising. Like, for me, fitness really changed my life. That's the bottom line. Fitness changed my life. Fitness helped me overcome addiction from drinking, because when you're working out, you don't want to go get drunk afterwards. You're gonna mess up your gains. When you're smoking cigarettes, it's gonna just tire you out while you're, you know, when you go to work out or you're doing anything athletic, playing with your kids, hanging out, going on a hike with your wife or whatever. You're just can't breathe. It sucks. So, like I said, anybody who is struggling, hey, I was in your shoes. I got over it. I fought it. I beat it. And if I can do it, you can, because I'm no better than anybody that's watching this video right now. I appreciate anybody's time. Please like, comment, or subscribe. Comment, y'all. Comment. I don't care. Like, what y'all, if y'all want to talk crap on me, talk crap. If you don't want to, if you want to, you know, show support, show support. Show some love. Show some love. I'm all about that. Positivity. Like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just telling you my story and how I beat addiction. Thank you again. Comment. I don't bite. I try to respond to all the comments, you know, whether they're good or bad. Let's talk about it. All right, y'all. Till next time. It's Top Z. I'm out. Yeah, I thought I'd just add this in real quick, too. I know the video is kind of long, my bad, but I'm going to splice this in. You know, I don't edit videos much, but I just wanted to tell y'all because I forgot. I just got too wrapped up on trying to, you know, give y'all some good advice. But the grandma I was talking about that was chain smoking, well, right now she's dying of pancreatic cancer, which is commonly caused from smoking. She basically had to get on dialysis for a long time. She got tired of doing the dialysis. It was too much for her. And now she's you know, going through a lot. You know, she's going through chemo. It's killing her. Once she stopped the dialysis, that's killing her. So she's going through a really rough time. She lost all her hair. Me and my grandma don't really have the best relationship in the world. You know, but I still have a heart, and I still do feel bad for her, and I keep her in my prayers. But, you know, she pretty much abandoned me at a young age. So, you know, that little bit of you know, that whatever, you know, that I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So, anyways, yeah. So that just goes to show you, man. I'm not trying to fearmonger nobody, but I'm just letting you know what could happen. So it could happen to anybody, for, you know, but just a heads up. All right, y'all.